And you're just in time. Yeah, see, you've got good timing, you're getting good at this. Welcome back to BX3. I am Dylan Thomas Good. As always, we have booze, which is a gin on the rocks this time. And we got boots, which you can't see very well this time, but there you go. Yes, I do have them on. I never disappoint. And as always, we have books. And this time, on our special outdoor edition, we're going to highlight writer resources. I have a lot of people coming up to me on a at least semi-regular basis, asking me, okay, I've got this book idea, or I want to get farther ahead in some way or shape or form, and where can I go? Where can I start? You know, so we're going to look at a few things that will not only get you neophytes sort of started on the right track, but also get some more of the advanced people a little bit more to work with. You know, because I know there are a lot of fiction folks out there. That's a logical starting point. So let's go ahead and look at a few things that novelists and fiction writers need to sort of have in their back pocket in order to get ahead in the industry. The first thing is probably one of the most well-known thing is the writer's market. There's just so much that you can find in here, and it's so much easier than it used to be. I don't know how many of you are old school and used to get the big, thick book. Remember that big writer's market book that you could, you know, kill somebody with? That is gone now. I mean, they still make it, but you don't need it because you've got Writer's Market online now, and you can search by certain genres and look for different markets and really focus in on your search. And like I said, in the old days, you had the big book, and there was so much to slog through. And yeah, there were nice articles and all that, but like I said, all of that is being transported to their new website. So definitely go with that. It's one of the best things that you can use in order to try to find outlets, whether it's, you know, you're a journalist, or you're doing short story, or you're doing fiction, novel stuff. And I mean, it's so wonderful. So go check it out. I'm not going to spend a long time bending your ear about it, but it is an absolutely wonderful resource. So check that out. Another one that you may want to check out also is the Publisher's Marketplace. A lot of people ask me, okay, I've got this book idea, or I've written this book, I've got a manuscript. So now what the hell do I do with it? And if I knew that, I wouldn't be here. I'd be selling my books and hanging out with my agent. Well, you know what they say, folks, those who can't do, teach. Yes. But probably a really good place to start if you're looking to get an agent in the literary field is to go to the Publisher's Marketplace. And for all you screenwriters, I know you want agents too, and we'll talk about you in just a few minutes, but this is just for the literary folks. And go to Publisher's Marketplace, has all these agents and their websites, whether or not they're open to submissions, whether they take unsolicited queries, or you have to go through an existing agent. You want to stay away from those folks unless you really know what you're doing. And there's so many more things that you can find in there. And also another invaluable resource is the bottom portion of a lot of the entries for agents on the Publisher's Marketplace has a small area where the agent themselves can list all of their previous publication credits, so to speak. You know, the authors that they represent, the books that are forthcoming from publishing houses that they've, you know, made deals with. So check that out, because if you are a, you know, cookbook person, or you're a, you know, short story person, or you deal with crime thrillers or whatever, you can actually look at what they've put out and say, hey, you know, I've got something that's similar to what you've already got going on, and then you're much better off. You've got that right there in your pocket, and you can get way farther, because that's sort of built-in market research, so to speak, because, you know, you're comparing your book to something that's already been either bought or released and successful. So yeah, I mean, come on. How good is that? Next, we want to talk to all you wonderful screenwriters. And, I mean, yeah, you guys are going through the same thing as the literary folks when it comes to trying to get an agent. You know, it's try to go to conventions and schmooze and make a connection, or write the dreaded query letter over and over again until you pass out and die. But there are a few things now with the advent of the wonderful internet that will help you get to where you hopefully want to be. First thing is, I'm sure as a screenwriter you're all very familiar with IMDb. We all love looking up movies on IMDb and seeing what our favorite actors are going to be doing next and all that stuff. Well, it's a wonderful little thing, but there's something that's even better, and that's IMDb Pro. Yes, there is a paid version of IMDb, and I'm sure that if you get in there and start looking around, it's going to eat up your entire day, because that's exactly what happened to me. With IMDb Pro, you can go in and find out who an actor's talent agent is. You can find out who their management is. You can find out all these things, their lawyers, all these things that you can find out how to get in touch with them, or how to somehow interconnect with them. Also, for you folks who already have some credits, it'll actually do this Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation, and it'll tell you how you worked with someone that may have worked with you on something else or something like that. It's actually it's very, very interesting. So check those things out, because like I said, once you crack the top on that one, you'll be in there forever, because there's so much neat stuff to look at, and you always want to cross-reference. It's like, okay, this person represents these actors, and that person is related to this screenwriter, and like I said, you'll see a lot of strange little creative hierarchies as a result of getting on IMDb Pro. So check that out, because it's sort of the weird dark web for screenwriters and producers and directors and actors and things like that, because it gives you this information that before no one was privy to, unless you were really, really close with either an agent or an entertainment attorney or a copyright attorney, or, you know, you were the brothers, sisters, aunt, you know, of some famous person, you know. So all of a sudden, we as just regular serfs out here in the creative community actually do have a leg up. Thankfully, mine's booted. But another thing that's come out in prominence a little bit more in the last few years, even though it's been around for a while, is something called Blacklist. Blacklist.com is a place where you can go to pay to have your, it's a very strange thing, you pay to have your screenplay listed on the Blacklist. That's what they call this collection of writings. And then you see, if it gets any traction, people will read your works and they'll rate it, or a lot of people, especially like talent agents or producers or directors, they'll go there to see what kind of scripts are out there that they can actually, you know, query on, get some interest in. You know, producers with some money to burn, they can go to Blacklist and say, hey, I saw this script. They get a hold of you, you have an agent, or you go and get an agent, and then all of a sudden it's almost like a packaging type of thing. It's a packaging agency type of setup, where everything gets very, very interlocked together. And I think it's a really fantastic idea. And, you know, I'm sure you're asking, yeah, but Dylan, I mean, does anything like this ever get bought off a Blacklist? And the answer is yes, very much so. There have been numerous, not only produced films, produced screenplays, but, you know, Oscar-winning stuff, things that have gotten a hell of a lot of notoriety in the field. So it's a long shot, but it is sort of one of those places that you can experience that, you know, genesis of an overnight sensation. So so check out not only IMDb Pro, but Blacklist, and see what you can come up with. I'm sure some of you, it'll better serve some of you rather than others, but it sure as hell can't hurt. And I think once you get in there and you start poking around, you will see a lot of value to it and how it can help you out with your projects. Next, I'm going to talk to all you freelancers out there. Probably the best place you should go right off the bat is problogger.com. There are so many jobs there. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if it's tech writing or journalist stuff or blogging or editing or just little off-the-cuff jobs that are one-shots. It's fantastic. There's so much, and you can just sort by so many different things. Just go in there. It's sort of like I don't know, it's like a Craigslist for jobs or something, you know. And there's a lot of remote possibilities as well, so be sure to search by that, and it's so many things. So just go in and dink around with it. I'm sure you'll really get a lot out of it. Another thing you want to do is go to freelancewritinggigs.com. freelancewritinggigs.com. And in there, that's a great little resource because it's not only updated regularly, but just like the problogger.com, you can get so many different types of jobs there. They have, you know, resume writing. I think there's even maybe some screenwriting stuff in there. So many jobs for hire. You know, if you have anything to do with writing, everything from, you know, maybe some kind of research, you know, educational, academic background type of thing, all the way up to, you know, some wild one-offs, or, you know, even W-2 jobs where you're on the payroll for someone. So definitely check it out. Problogger.com and freelancewritinggigs.com. Both fantastic for all of you freelancers out there. And now I get to talk to all you wonderful lyrical poets out there. There are a lot of poetry resources on the internet. I mean, just doing a short little Google search, or what you think might be a short Google search, will return literally hundreds and hundreds of resources for you. But probably the really big one is poetrymarkets.com. One of those things that you can do is go in there and you'll be faced with a kind of strange search thing. Just hit enter and it'll return everything that they have, which is about, I think, 200 listings. From there you can refine your search if you want to, but that's a great place to start. Also, poets.org, it's tough to say when you're kind of sober, is a sort of poetry melange of things that you can find near you. There's some material for teachers out there, so if you're a poet who does instruction either on a consultant basis or on an academic basis, you can find some things there to really help your students achieve what they're trying to achieve. And there's a lot of other things that can go in there. So if you're into the poetry scene, definitely check out poets.org as well, because it's a really nice resource that has some things that many other ones don't. Of course, if you're trying to start with poetry and you want to do that, figure out how to hone your skills, so to speak, there's always rhyming dictionaries and thesauruses and haikus and all that stuff. And if you are into haiku, speaking of which, there's, strangely enough, there's a haiku.org, I swear to God. And, well, that's pretty self-explanatory, but check it out, haikus. It's a beautiful thing. This is probably about the spot where I would include the Dirty Limericks pages, but I think you can just find them for yourself. I can't do everything for you. And now we come to all you songwriters. Yes, whether you're writing music, writing lyrics, or both, because you're just a really Renaissance kind of bastard. We've got lots of songwriting things, probably even more so than the poets do, and boy, that's saying something. First place is probably writersresourcenetwork.com, and there is so much there. We're talking tips and contacts and networking and jobs and all these things. I go on it. You'll be on there forever. It's a really deep resource, and I'm sure that no matter what phase that you're in, or how far advanced you are in the field, check that out, because it really is kind of nice to have sort of this little one-stop shopping area for songwriting. Also, another place is Just Plain Folks. Just Plain Folks, and it's jpfolks.com, I believe, is what their website is. It's sort of a grassroots music thing, and so if you're more into the folk scene or one of those types of things, check that out, because I think that you're going to be very well served with that one. There's a lot of things as far as booking assistance, CD distribution, instruments, instruments for sale, songwriting associations, your ASCAPs, your BMIs. It's got links to that type of thing, and there's just so much that you can get lost in there. So even though it's, like I said, it's more of a grassroots thing, they have so many things to look up and help people out with their songwriting projects. So yes, so check out songwritersresourcenetwork.com, and also Just Plain Folks, which you can find at jpfolks.com. We're going to wrap up today with sort of some umbrella tips for all writers out there. Don't forget, first and foremost these days, when it comes to trying to get connections or getting a leg up in the industry or making any type of friends that can help you out, whether they're friends in low places or high places, don't forget social networking. I can't put enough emphasis on that these days. The Luddite in me doesn't want to trumpet social media as much as I do, but it's here to stay, folks. There's no way around it, and it is the gigantic portal to the industry these days. Don't forget to hashtag the shit out of everything you do. Everything. It doesn't matter if you're doing a status update on Twitter or Facebook, or you're doing something somewhere else where that hashtag, whether it's hashtag songwriters, or hashtag writers community, or hashtag writing community, or hashtag poetry, or hashtag mwriting. I mean, I just gave you a few of the really, really big ones there, and so make sure you just plaster those on everything that you do, because someone out there is going to try to search that, may even be you, and they're going to come back with so many returns of people who are working on things that they are, and they may have certain information that really, really could be a boon to your career. So definitely, like I said, don't underestimate hashtags in all social media. It's an absolute must. Highly recommended, even though I hate that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's an absolute lifeblood to the community now, and get out there and exploit it as much as anybody else can, perhaps even more. That would be even better. Another thing, even though it's kind of a strange type of almost archaic thing now, do check Craigslist. You can find some really funky shit on Craigslist, and there's a lot of great stuff out there, whether it's just a short writing assignment, or it's an actual, like I said, a W-2 type of job that you could find on ProBlogger or something like that. There's a lot of interesting stuff. As always, when dealing with Craigslist, be very leery of what you're doing. Hi, Kitta. Yeah, we have... Oh, of course, she sits down right in front of the camera. Okay, well, I'll continue here. Be leery of anything that you find on Craigslist. Everything that glitters is almost never gold. So don't get crazy just because you see something that you think might be a fantastic opportunity, because the person at the end of that little line may end up wreaking havoc on not only your career, but you personally as well. I hate to sound like the prophet of doom here, but please exercise caution if you're gonna peruse Craigslist, because it really is kind of dicey sometimes. Kitta, you need to get your ass out of here. Hold on a second. I love a Kitta, yeah, but you gotta move. Oh, she's a little shithead sometimes. There you go, Kitta. I love you. Yes, I love you, but you gotta fuck off. Okay, so last and certainly not least is copyright your work. I know in this day and age with, the supposition that everything is just immediately construed as yours once it's created, it's a nice thing. Yeah, in a perfect world, I'd like to believe that too. But if you end up in court, you're going to have to prove this shit. And there's only one true way that you can really get over, and that is copywriting your work. So go to the Library of Congress. They have a website. I will put it down here with these others. And I've been doing copyrights for, I think, 29 years now. And needless to say, the process has changed a little bit. It's gotten actually a lot easier, but it's also more expensive. I'm not going to lie to you, but check it out. Copyright.gov. That's another one you need to check out, and you'll find all the infos you need. If you're a screenwriter, I think you need Form PA, and if you're a novelist or you're doing fiction, you can do Form TX, I believe. So check those out, and those will probably get you the protection that you need. And make sure you fill out everything as much as possible, because you leave blanks in the world, and somebody else is going to fill them in. Hey, Kitta, what you doing? Neighborhood cat's still here. But in the words of F. Scott Fitzgerald, I had that familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer. So I wish all of you a fun summer, and I'll see you again in September, as they say. Well, Guitar, now don't put your ass in my face.